Hi, this is Denise's Delicacies with Chef Keshia, and we are going to make one of my favorite cheat day treats. This is the irresistible Pecan Upside-Down Cake. This is the perfect remedy for a fall day, a brisk fall day. It has cinnamon pecans, caramelized pecans, perfect for the nice warm cup of coffee, maybe your pumpkin spice or just your regular caramel latte. So we're gonna get started with the ingredients, okay? So there are ingredients for the topping and then for the cake. So first we'll go over the topping. We'll have half a cup of softened butter, okay? You wanna make sure your butter is room temperature, so as we are melting the butter in the saucepan, it'll melt a lot easier. Then we have half a cup of light brown sugar. Also, 3 tablespoons of corn syrup. We have a pinch of salt here and a cup of pecan halves. We have a tablespoon of white vinegar or lemon juice. Today I'm going to use lemon juice. We also have a 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. We have our granulated sugar. So we have 3/4 cup plus a tablespoon. Okay, a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, a 1/2 teaspoon of your baking powder. Actually, this is a 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, a teaspoon of cinnamon powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we have a cup and 2/3 of all-purpose flour. So we can actually make this a vegan treat if you like. This can be, we have milk. This can be your regular cow's milk, or we can use almond milk. So I have 3/4 cup plus a tablespoon of milk. So let's get started, okay? We'll get started with mixing. The first thing we'll do is in a medium saucepan, we're going to mix our butter, brown sugar, okay, our corn syrup, and all of that in there. So we can get nice and caramelized. And our salt, okay? So we're gonna let that melt together. And you will probably have to break up your brown sugar because brown sugar likes to get nice and clumped together. So we're gonna stir occasionally until it's all mixed smooth. And a caramel sauce. So we're gonna let that melt for just a few minutes. And then we'll be right back. Okay, so our butter has been melting for a couple minutes now. I've been smashing up the brown sugar because sometimes it does get clumped together, so you wanna make sure it's nice and smooth without any lumps. And you will see that your butter will separate, but that's okay. Continue to stir, because the goal here is we would like to see a caramel smooth mixture, okay? So, still have some lumps there. So I'm gonna keep stirring until it's all one brown color. And we're almost there. Oh wow, that looks perfect. Okay, so last step for the sauce, we're gonna add our pecan halves. Just dump them right in there. Make sure your pecans are covered with the sauce. So get them good and mixed up there. Now our topping is ready. Now, what you'll need next is an 8-inch pan covered with greased and covered with parchment paper. So I'll be right back and I'll grab that for you. Okay, so we've got a nice caramelized mixture with our pecans and our 8-inch pan that is lined with parchment paper. We'll pour the mixture into the pan. And you want to make sure it's poured nice and evenly. And you know what? I'll take my spatula just to make sure it's evenly distributed on the bottom of the pan. Okay, and then we'll set it aside. Now for the good part. That is actually the best part. So we're going to now mix our dry ingredients. Well, first, before we do that, let's take our milk and our lemon juice. Again, you can use vinegar, and we'll pour it in our mixer. We'll let that sit for a few minutes. Essentially what we're making is buttermilk. So you can use vinegar or lemon juice. The milk will curdle in about 2 or 3 minutes. You'll see that the milk will actually have this curdle consistency. Don't worry about that. That's what we're going for. In a separate bowl, we're going to mix our dry ingredients. So we've got our flour. And so the flour that I'm using today, you can use all-purpose flour, but when I'm making cakes, I prefer to use cake flour because it just gives the cake a lighter texture as opposed to a denser texture. So that was my salt. And we've got our baking powder and our cinnamon. I'm gonna whisk them all together. And you just wanna make sure it's nicely distributed. And we're gonna take a few minutes for our milk to curdle, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so looking at our milk mixture, it looks like the lemon juice did its job. The milk is curdled, so we're gonna add a few more ingredients. We'll add our granulated sugar, our vegetable oil. The vegetable oil is going to give the cake a nice moist texture. Our vanilla extract. And we'll mix them together. So you just want to mix them together till they're fully mixed. Okay. Now, we'll slowly mix in our dry ingredients. So remember, this is your cinnamon, this is your cake flour, your baking powder, and we'll mix a little at a time. Just so the flour is not going everywhere. Okay. And if you know anything about me, you know I like to stop the mixer, scrape down the sides of the bowl so all the ingredients have their chance to get mixed together. Okay, we'll get it off the top. We'll mix a little more because we don't want to overmix this cake. You truly just want to mix it for the ingredients just to be blended together. Over mixing will make your cake dense and it won't rise. So we want to make sure that it's not mixed too much. And it's perfectly fine just now. Okay, so we're ready. We're going to grab our pan. We'll be right back. And then we'll make the cake. Okay, now that we've got our batter fully mixed, we are going to pour it over our pecan mixture that should have been cooling in our pan. Okay, so I'm just gonna pour. And I'm gonna take my spatula and make sure I get all of that in there. Okay. Now, I'm gonna make sure that these are perfectly smooth. And my oven has been preheating on 360, and we're gonna bake for 40 to 45 minutes. I'm gonna pop this in the oven. And we'll see you when it comes out. Okay, so our cake has been baking for about 40 minutes. So it's about ready to come out the oven. And we'll check it with a skewer. So sometimes I can pat the top of a cake and my hand bounces back, the cake's done. But if you're not too sure, you can always use a skewer. Insert the skewer. If the cake is not on the skewer, comes out clean, cake's done. Okay, so another mitt. Now, this is almost the last step. What we'll do now is we'll let the cake rest for about 30 minutes. If we dump it now, everything will fall off the cake. Too hot, the pecans, caramel, so we just want everything to set just right. So we'll come back in about 30 minutes and we'll see our finished cake. Okay, so we've had this deliciousness cooling for about 30 minutes now. I think it's ready to pop out of the pan. So I've got a 10-inch plate here. I'm just gonna flip my pan over. And we've had the parchment paper on here, so it should slip out really easy. So let's see. Okay. How are we doing? No, not ready. Almost there. So I was patting it down a little bit on the parchment paper, but some got stuck. We'll just put that back. There you go. All right. So this deliciousness is almost ready to eat. I think I want to take a slice, see what it looks like on the inside. So you've got your slice, perfect for that afternoon treat with your cup of pumpkin spice coffee or caramel coffee, ready to go there. So thank you for joining me. You can get more recipes out of my cookbook, Denise's Delicacies with Chef Keshia, or check us out at cakesbydenises.com. We will be shipping cakes to you soon. So I'll see you next time.